interested in what areas are being discussed. So transport demand management is an obvious one, but potentially waste, potentially land management, other areas. It'd be interesting to know where COSLA is at on those issues.
Maybe defer to David and Silke on some specific detail. Obviously, COSLA is working through its fiscal framework at the moment, and the resources spokesperson will be dealing with that. And it's certainly looking at other ways of bringing in some more contentious than others, as you can imagine. But I don't know specifically in terms of transport, David.
Yeah, happy to make some comments, Councillor McGregor, and I'm sure Silke will want to join in as well, particularly around the kind of fiscal side of things in terms of levers. One comment that I would make in response to Mr Ruskell's question is a couple of good examples there, public transport and waste. And I think a local authority view would be that fiscal levers need to go hand in hand again with investment, and making sure that what we're actually trying to encourage people in terms of the behaviours for them to adopt, that the alternative is in place. So, for example, if we are introducing fiscal levers around demand management of transport, are the alternatives there, and is the infrastructure there in place that that's a reasonable alternative and an affordable alternative for people, whether that's public transport, electric vehicles, etc., or active travel indeed. And similarly for waste, that and Silke and I have had previous conversations in different roles around this, around the infrastructure being in place where people have recycling facilities that are clear, that they have robust arrangements for collection of waste, etc., and they can make the right behavioural decisions that we're seeking them to do in response to those levers. Silke, is there anything you would want to?
Yes, no, thank you very much. I think it's been very, very well outlined. I think it is, again, fair to say that there's a huge amount of work going on in the local government family around sort of like what the concrete instruments would be, what financial levers would be, what, legislative levers would be, anything from, workplace parking levies to other instruments. So I think there's a growing focus by the local government family of what the tools would be that would be required to help with this change. But it is also going back to, we need to keep the overall view of the whole system transformation. And that's where we're coming back to what you, convener, very early on referred to as the local government empowerment, that local authorities have the ability to draw on these levers as and when they're needed. So I would say there's a very active discussion developing here, and they will be crucial. To which extent, individual financial levers will be needed is something we will probably have more clarity on in the next sort of like 12 months.
I mean, it would be interesting to know if there is a point where, there'll be an ambitious sort of conclusion to that. I'm reminded by the first. Reflecting back on the first inquiry that was ever done in the Scottish Parliament in 2005 into climate change, there was a recommendation that ministers should bring forward a workable system of road user charging by 2015. So that was 10 years, nothing happened. We're now years on from that. So you're saying within the next year there'll be a clear view from COSLA about new fiscal levers that can be used, and that will be a clear ask to government about where they could potentially be extended, or?
Yeah, it's very much a work in progress, as you can imagine. I do co-chair the National Transport Strategy as well with a new minister, so that will be a different dynamic. And we've certainly been looking at things like vehicle charging in cities and rural areas, various types, various ways of doing that. The crucial thing for me as a local councillor and for yourselves as elected members is that we have to take our communities with us. And what we are finding, I think, quite a lot at community level is, when EV charging points are rolled out in a community, they go down like a lead balloon sometimes. So, because people, I think 13% of the population have electric vehicles. So a huge percentage don't have cars at all. So what we need to do as elected members is take our communities with us. And when we look at things like vehicle charging, make sure it's done in a way that's more carrot than the stick. And I think that would be our priority sort of within COSLA. That behavioural change it is going to be really important if we're going to be a bit more punitive on people to make them change their lifestyles. So that's another piece of work that we're doing at a community level within place planning as well. It's not just about what we're doing at a higher level, it's are we taking our communities with us? And we have found that projects that are developed from the community up are brilliant, you know, that they are really well received, but projects that are imposed upon communities don't go down so well. So I think we're all on a bit of a journey at the moment.
Yeah, okay, that's useful. Can I just move on